Welcome back. Good morning, hockey.
What?
Is not the right show.
Oh my God.
My God. My brain is not operating right now. Chicago Hockey Radio.
Good morning, hockey. We're CHR.
Yeah. Good morning, hockey. We're CHR. Yeah.
Is that what we're called now? Chicago Hockey Radio. That is right.
Yeah. Chicago Hockey Radio. Welcome back, Justin. Welcome to the show, everybody. We have our finals punched for Thursday's Four Nations Face-Off Gold Medal game. Thank you to everybody who joined in. 2 live streams on Saturday, 2 live streams yesterday. The last one, the second one yesterday definitely got a little slippery on us, but it was a lot of fun. Thank you to everybody who showed up and showed out. We will be live streaming the championship game on Thursday, USA versus Canada. I'm sure we are going to talk plenty about that, not just today, but on tomorrow's show as well. Quick reminder. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please follow us on Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio. And please, please, please leave a 5-star rating and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It's super easy and it helps us out a lot. Also, a quick reminder, we have a live show Wednesday, March 5th at Midwest Coast Brewing here in Chicago, 6 p.m. The doors will open to the public. The game against the Ottawa Senators, it starts at 6:30, so that way you can get a couple of drinks in. You can watch us set up. We can chit-chat a little bit, and we have the whole rooftop to ourselves that night. So the RSVP link is in the description of that episode. We're gearing up for that. Raven got, I have some nice speakers. I mentioned this on one of the live streams yesterday, but I have some nice speakers that our microphones will be plugged into. So not only will they be recording the audio, but they will also be projecting the audio. So that way the noises and the sounds and all of our voices will be heard by all in attendance. So that's going to be super fun. Really looking forward to that. A bunch of you RSVP'd yesterday, so that was really cool of you. Continue to do so. I think tomorrow will be 2 weeks out from the live event. So
yeah, this thing is coming up, man. I'm so excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is going to be a lot of fun. So also join the Discord. Questions every Friday. Send us your questions either via Discord or Instagram DM. We will be answering questions. No Lee on the show tomorrow as well, so it'll just be me and Justin holding down the fort. So I have some work to do myself in order to make that an interesting and bustling show as all of our episodes are. All right. USA versus Canada final is set. Wow. We have a lot of big news. Obviously, Quinn Hughes, Charlie McAvoy. We're gonna get to it all. But I do just want to throw it over to Justin, just because it feels like we haven't talked in forever. What just thoughts from the weekend? Thoughts today? What's going through your head right now? What are you feeling right now, Justin?
Excitement, buzz. I think this Four Nations tournament is just blowing away my expectations. I didn't really know what to expect. I think I was a little worried, like Lee, what if this just kind of an all-star atmosphere? What if the players don't really care? Well, when you're representing your country, everything is on the line. And this tournament, man, it's just been so fun to watch. It's I have the thought now. It's why go back? Let's just stick with this. No more all-star shenanigans, these skills comps. Look at what the NBA was doing. What a joke that they did this weekend. The NHL just absolutely blew them away. I mean, just the ratings. What was it? 4.4 million people watched or something? I mean, unreal. I think it was the most watched game since 2019. That wasn't the playoffs, something like that for hockey.
Wasn't a Stanley Cup final.
Yeah. So that's just the buzz and excitement. Even people who don't really care about hockey are into this tournament. They know what's going on. They've been paying attention. And it's they've been beating out the NBA and nobody really cares about the MLB and NFL Pro Bowl stuff. So it's dude, it's this break. I think the NHL has done. It's been fantastic for the game, but also it's a reminder. It's man, we could have had this the past 9 years. This is the first time we've seen a tournament like this since the World Cup of Hockey. And honestly, I think this has been better than that. While it's only Four Nations, just think the games have been so fun to watch. And it's I think I'll start with the Saturday one. That USA-Canada game, one of the best hockey games I've ever seen in my life. I'm not sure if I'm quite willing to go. I know, Lee, you saying it's the best game you've ever seen, flat out. I'm not quite sure. I mean, that might be recency bias, but it's up there. I think it's definitely top 5 for me, for sure. But just to set the tone right away. Oh. Three fights in 9 seconds. I've never seen that before. You never really see that. You'll see tilts to start off hockey games, but not like that. It was like the '70s series between the Canada and the Russians. Like I think that one they really had to stop the game because they just kept fighting the whole time. But you could just see in that game like there was just a greater intensity in that game, like between the two, and you can't tell that there weren't some outside factors that may have been playing into that. So I think the game was great. Good to see the U.S. come away with it. Not really concerned about the game, yesterday. It didn't really mean anything. So we were already had our, tickets booked to the championship game. And Canada, I mean, dude, they almost blew it. They almost blew it to Finland, who we cooked. So I'm still feeling pretty good going to this championship Thursday. We'll be curious to see what the roster looks like. Hopefully Quinn Hughes can magically appear in that lineup. And I don't know, maybe Brock Faber can stub his toe or something. We'll get to that. But no, really excited for USA Canada rematch Thursday. Nervous, but like a good nervous. I'm ready to go.
Has there been an event in the past decade that has grown the game more than this tournament has so far?
Like, seriously, dude. I mean, the buzz on X and everywhere you look on social media. Like, I haven't even like pages that never post about hockey are talking about it. It's great. It's great for the game. So it's like whether you like the results or not, even the Saturday game, if you're a Canadian fan, you don't like the result. Great for the game of hockey. No doubt about it. Yeah.
You see, I wonder, the term growing the game of hockey is a bit of an interesting one to me, only because, who are we growing the game towards a little bit with something like that? You know what I'm saying?
People who don't normally
The
pay attention.
Yeah.
Casual
Basketball
sports
fans. Yeah. ESPN. Like
hockey is such like a niche. Like I feel like hockey more than any of the other major sports is like, if you watch hockey, it's your thing. Like, I don't know too many people who watch hockey and it's like their third favorite sport. Like hockey is either your thing or you don't really know anything about it. And maybe you watch the Stanley Cup playoffs. If the team, the city you're from makes the playoffs, you'll throw it on, whatever. Dude, I have so many friends that don't give a single shit about hockey texting me about this tournament, about this US team, about that game. I haven't experienced anything like it. And so I guess that's what I mean is like the casual audience that like, if you want the NHL to be able to compete with the other sports, you need to grab a hold of that casual audience. And I think that's what this tournament has done so far.
Yeah, you can't just have your hardcore fans carrying. You got to expand the reach, right? I think that's what the NHL has been trying to do, and they're finally starting to do it. But it's like, even for me, in my college, in the cafeteria, like I'm always like listening to chatter. I like doing that, and like everybody's always talking about NBA, NFL, MLB, etc. Hockey isn't really like the thing here, but it's like that's all I've heard anybody talk about these past few days is that Four Nations tournament going on. So you know what? I think that's a big W for the game. I make fun of it a lot for the name, the Four Nations stuff, but it works. It's been catchy, and like I think just the product on the ice has lived up to the hype. Okay. I know we questioned if it would, but it has.
I was just wondering because when I think of like growing the game, a lot of times I think of like two things. I think of growing the game worldwide, right? Like in other countries that aren't, super hockey hotbeds. I don't know that this like does that a lot, which is fair. I don't know that that's the point. If the point is to get more people in the US who aren't watching the sport to watch it, then that's, So I think of growing hockey, right? Like, so two ways. One, you're growing it in other sports that it isn't like the top sport, right? Where soccer and it's basketball and it's whatever. The other part of it too is like, are more kids going to play hockey because of Saturday night's game? I don't know that the answer is necessarily yes to that.
What's an event that ever happens that you could say yes, people, besides maybe a team in a city and kids in that city seeing a team win a Stanley Cup? Like, I don't know if it's going to get any bigger than that.
Well, I think you could probably say historically, and, like this is all in the hindsight of like less than a week out from this game, right? Like you could probably say that like the 1980 Miracle on Ice probably caused more kids to play hockey in the U.S., right?
That was huge for the U.S.
Now we're 45 years out from that.
That's pretty damn good then if we're talking about Miracle right now as far as like moments.
No, but I'm just saying that was an event that probably caused a lot more kids to play hockey in the U.S.
Probably.
I think Wayne Gretzky being traded to the Los Angeles Kings was a big,
But that wasn't just like an individual instance, like a moment that happened and then it started happening. It was because he went to LA and he played there for a while. Like this is one game.
Yeah,
that we're talking about could have an impact like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think this Thursday game could definitely have that type of impact. I mean, this is probably the biggest international hockey game since the 2010 gold medal game between the Canada and the U.S. Hopefully, we can get our revenge there. Hopefully, Canada won't understand it now like they did 15 years ago, right?
The only reason why I'm like not pushing back against you, Tassos, but just like I've already seen on Twitter, like pundits being and different insiders and stuff, people being like, oh, like, you know, yeah, it's been awesome, but you got to think that general managers seeing all these players get injured, they're going to be hesitant to let their players do this next time. It's like, can you guys just shut up for like 1 second? Can you just let hockey be on top for a weekend? Before we're like, oh, you know, people are getting injured during this. It's like, I don't remember a time where this many people who don't care about hockey have talked about the sport. Let's enjoy it. Let's build off of this. Let's not talk about, maybe next time we do this, we have to be more careful because like, dude.
No, I don't.
I agree with you, but like when you look at it from the team's perspective, like of course they would prefer the all-star stuff because, you know, they wouldn't worry about they know the players don't give a shit about that. They know there's no really injury risk. So I agree with you. I think your sentiment makes sense. But like from the team's perspective, of course they're going to have their concerns. Like I can't imagine that they're thrilled with, you know, some of these guys going out right now.
The growth that these owners are going to see because the sport is becoming more popular is going to outweigh one of their best players getting injured for a few weeks. It just is.
My big point is that, you know, it has to extend past this weekend, Thursday.
Build off of it.
How do you do that?
You make this postseason has to be insane.
Yeah, like that's the thing. You gotta keep momentum because, like, I'm looking like I've been enjoying this tournament so much. Like, I'm almost not looking forward to it ending. Like going back to NHL hockey after this, it's like this is like a whole nother level above the NHL. Really, if that existed, there was a league that existed that was better than the NHL. This is it. So it's like I feel like it's always gonna be kind of hard to go back to it, especially because we're Blackhawks fans. So yeah, I don't know.
You want to know how you build off of it? If you're a general manager or an owner of one of the teams in the NHL. You go out and you make big moves to help your team before free agency's up. And you bolster your roster and you make sure you have a wagon going into the postseason because people are going to be starving for this level of hockey. And the next time we're going to get it is going to be the Stanley Cup playoffs. So stack your teams and the fans are going to come and they're going to be paying big bucks after this, I think. That's how you do it.
Build it and they will come.
Absolutely.
We're going to kind of talk about that in the NHL hour of the show here. Obviously, there's no Blackhawks for us to talk about. So Blackhawks hour has become Four Nations face-off hour, really, for this episode and at least tomorrow's. Hopefully on Friday, we'll have a bit more Blackhawks to discuss as well. I think
we'll have some Hawks stuff to discuss tomorrow because I know their NHL teams are reporting back to the rinks today. I think they're practicing like this afternoon. So I'm sure we'll have some stuff to talk about tomorrow with the Hawks. But Four Nations today for sure. There's a lot to sift through here. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see the NHL truly build off this and, you know, really go in a good direction. You know, we are going to tee up in the NHL hour a bit of, you know, the lack of movement so far. You know, I certainly thought that there was going to be a lot more
trading and stuff.
I thought we'd see something, you know, and we'll
treat it like a roster freeze during the holidays.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, you're allowed to make moves right now. They just nobody's really done so. But we'll get into more of that in the NHL hour. But you know, I agree with you. Just like, you know, teams better load up. You know, yeah, the playoffs have to be knocked out of the park for this moment. Otherwise, like, you know, the playoffs are still like 2 months away. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, that's plenty of time for the. You know, and look, the NBA is doing itself no favors by just putting out a product that is
dunk contests
virtually unwatchable.
The biggest NBA
nobody cares
fans.
About the All-Star stuff there.
But even regular season NBA, like, you know, there's a certain number of teams that, you know, like there's the Oklahoma Cities and the, you know, Cleveland Cavaliers and some of these teams that are like fun to watch and, you know, but other than that, the product is virtually unwatchable.
The NHL is a stronger product, but it's got to market it better. Yeah. I think it's nice. Like this tournament's like, it shows that it's nice to see the NHL do something right. You know, hopefully they don't shoot themselves in the foot here and actually take advantage of it. It's not just a short-term thing, you know.
I sent a clip on Instagram. Raven, do you have this clip? Could we listen to PK Subban's talking about exactly this, kind of like NHL versus NBA? And do we have it?
Hockey's a different sport from the NBA. You can't compare the cultures because of the way the game is played. You can step on an NBA floor and go through the emotions. You can't do that in hockey. You can't. Like the culture of our sport, you have to play it with passion. You have to be willing to fight. You have to be willing to leave it on the ice. That's what fans are investing in. So for us, when we charge $1,500 for a ticket to come to fans know what they're getting. Cale Makar, the best defenseman in the world, wasn't in the lineup for this game. This was the most viewed game that we've had in years. And you see it, it's not just based on the skill and talent. It's based on the pride, honor, playing for the guy next to you. I got a question for the NBA players. What the hell are you playing for? What are you playing for? It's not about the money. You make all the money. What, you're injured? Well, there's a difference between being hurt and injured. Are you hurt or are you injured? There's a difference. In hockey, we play hurt. We play injured. That is the culture of the sport. It's always been that way. So you want to talk about the business, the CBA, fans get all of that. But what do fans resonate with? They resonate with what's real. You got to fight sometimes for your country. You got to compete. You got to go out there and leave it on the ice because those people are paying the price of admission. So fans know whether our stars are on the ice or not, they're getting their money's worth. The NBA has that issue that they got to work on. You got to create a better culture for your players. It starts with the leaders. This issue, there was no issue when Jordan was around. There was no issue when Kobe was around. There's no issue when Sidney Crosby's around. There's no issue when Wayne Gretzky was around because those are true leaders. They lead by example. Sidney Crosby, Hockey Canada, those players, both Canada and U.S., it was the players that did that for the four nations. That's not the league. The league set it up, but the players went out there and decided and said, you know what, boys? We're all in. When is the NBA going to do that? Because, you know, I haven't sat down and watched the NBA consistently since Kobe. I love basketball. Love the players. I think LeBron's great. I think KD's great. Steph Curry. Love watching them. But you got to be on the court. You got to be there. And when you're there, you got to go all in. The fans got to feel that they're getting their money's worth. And right now, there's a big difference between what the NHL's doing with those events and what the NBA's doing. Four Nations works because the players are all in.
Yeah. I mean, I love PK Subban, like for those reasons. Like, I don't think there's a better apologist for the sport of hockey, honestly, than PK. I think he always paints the picture of the sport so well. I think he's right. I think that's the biggest gap between the difference between the product of the NHL and the NBA is all about the player's attitude. I think part of it's
culture's different. Yeah.
I think part of it is natural just because of how much money there is in the NBA, that like almost the primary focus of the NBA is like, how can you make as much money for as long as possible and like protect that? Whereas like to make money in the NHL, you have to be readily available all the time, like night in, night out, or else you don't play. And
I feel like the NHL, I just feel like they care more too. Like, it's like, would you see this level of like hype and another sport like this? Like, just when it comes to representing your country and your team, like it's all about the what's on the front of the jersey, not the back. Just this culture difference in hockey compared to other sports that's just very noticeable to me. I think if that wouldn't be possible in other sports to pull off this type of tournament.
And for me, too, it's like the closest thing I've ever seen in basketball was like, you know, we had the Summer Olympics. What was it? It was last year, right?
This year.
It was 2024, the Summer Olympics. And, you know, the Team USA run, that gold medal game, like I just
that
saw
roster
on Instagram.
Stacked.
Yeah. But like, you know, the late game heroics from Steph Curry in that game, right? Like that was the most amped up for basketball I've been since, you know, watching the Miami Heat play the San Antonio Spurs in the final like over a decade ago, right? And you know, that's almost, you know, there's no country in basketball that comes close to the United States, right? You know, so even then it's like a cakewalk for those guys, right? Like they don't need to like raise the level of intensity until the absolute very end of the gold medal game of the Olympic. You know what I mean? Like everything else is just a cakewalk for them. So I do think it's really interesting. I don't know if you guys saw that clip too that was going around from All-Star Weekend. They tried a new format where they took like 4 different teams. They split the guys up into 4 different teams, and then they like played against each other, and then they did like a final or whatever. And there was a clip going around of on the whatever team Victor Wembanyama was on, like he was vocal the entire weekend about like, hey, I'm gonna play really hard. Like I'm here to play basketball. Like I don't know any other way to play basketball other than playing it with maximum effort. And it was like the game-winning play or whatever on what? Did you guys see this?
No, I didn't watch any of the.
No, I saw it on social media. I didn't watch it live, but it was basically like this clip of like Wembanyama is like guarding his guy, and then his all-star game teammates are like, they just leave a guy open right under the hoop, like no effort, and just gives up the game-winning play. And Wembanyama just like is like, man, what? Like, what? Why aren't you trying? Like, why didn't you like pick him up? You know?
Yeah.
And you know, I just think it's hilarious almost, you know.
It's almost like good in a way that it was so bad, because then it gave even more love to the NHL and hockey, because then everyone
just the duality.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everyone was comparing it to the Pro Bowl too in the NFL. And which I mean, the NFL is a tough one, because it's such a physical sport that like you can't make a Pro Bowl like, you know, guys actually go out there and try to kill each other. But just like the flag football thing, and then the absolute shit show that is the NBA All-Star Game and the skills competition with the Four Nations. It was
now, to be fair,
beautiful.
This isn't an all-star game.
No.
Remember,
No.
the NHL
We're
will
still doing it.
The NHL will have an all-star game next season before going to Italy for the Olympics,
And it'll suck.
That's gonna be terrible, man. That's gonna be the
terrible.
worst one, because nobody's gonna want to get hurt for the Olympics. You think people don't want to get hurt for an NHL teams? That's a whole nother story.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree with you, but like that's also going to be terrible. So like comparing this to like an like, you know, I don't think that's necessarily fair, right?
No, I
but
know.
it's the innovation of like an idea, right? Like, you know, instead of an all-star game this year, this is what we're doing. You know, like we're gonna take these 4 countries because we haven't had best on best. You know, this is an NHL event. Remember, like the NHL likes making money just like these other leagues, right? So yeah, it's all about the green. You know, I just it's been fun, man. Like
It was a great event.
It's been really good. The NHL won the weekend, which
Easily.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
100%. First week about football too, so that's a
Yes,
big one to win.
yes.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
What are they going to be watching, right? I think a lot of them actually wound up tuning in. The viewership shows a lot of those football fans were watching hockey over the NBA stuff. Yeah.
I can't remember the last time we said that, you know, like
Yeah.
I know some of the past like Stanley Cup finals have been awesome, and
Boosting NBA's sloppy seconds.
yes, but this
Yeah.
was like NHL's on top. Gary Bettman's got to be feeling good about himself. Yeah, it's beautiful. But to Tassos's point is, let's build off this and continue to trend upwards.
That's right. This also makes me happier that the World Cup's going to be back too. Like we're going to be guaranteed to get this type of best of best hockey even better pretty much every 2 years. So that'll be nice.
If the NHL sticks to their word.
Well, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they better after this tournament. They'd be silly not to.
Yeah. And the fact that they're advertising for the Olympics, like with commercials during these games, if you like technically, like nobody was really talking about this. Technically, the NHL is not 100% committed to going to next year's Olympics yet.
I don't.
Like,
if I swear to God, if we see another 2022 situation,
like
we'll lose it.
all the T's haven't
too
been
late
crossed.
now.
I'm just saying all the T's haven't been crossed and the I's haven't been dotted yet.
know.
Like there's still some legwork to be done as far as insurance and, you know, some of these other like logistical things that go into sending the players to the Olympics. I do think it's going to end up getting done. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. I'm just saying that, like, you know, the NHL loves holding things over its players. The NHL loves, you know, taking things away last minute that they think, you know, or they tell its people that they're going to, like, salary cap rising and different things like that. You know, I'm just saying that.
I think someone would literally have to die on Thursday for them to not go to the Olympics. To be
Yeah, I mean the way this tournament's going, I think even the NHL, like they can't ignore that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it's not an NHL, you know, event like this is. I mean, just the growth of the game, I think, you know, is much more important. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the news of the day: Charlie McAvoy was admitted to Boston General Hospital with an infection stemming from an injury, an upper body injury sustained
He's been
during
so good,
Saturday's
too.
USA Canada game. Quinn Hughes has been brought up as an injury replacement, although the misconception on the internet was that he would be eligible to play. However, he is not allowed to play unless somebody else is injured.
I wonder if we'll see any.
Let's start with McAvoy. Let's start with McAvoy.
Start with McAvoy.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, he really shut down Davo and Co. In the game against Saturday. Well, I think the goal McDavid he blew by, but after that he really shut him down. So that's definitely a big loss. I think he's been good in this tournament. It sucks for him he won't be able to play TD Garden as well. So
that hit he laid on Connor McDavid in the first period directly led to the Jake Gensel goal. Like that, it was the same. It was the same. Like
he
a
made
whistle
up for
hadn't
it.
been blown. A whistle hadn't been blown before that play happened. Like I saw a clip where he laid the hit and then they like fast forwarded all the way to the goal. You know what I mean?
He's such an impact guy too. Kind of underrated. Like he's never really talked about in terms of like best defenseman in the NHL, probably because guys like Quinn Hughes exist and Cale Makar. But like he's definitely like next up in that tier after. Like he's probably not going to win. He probably won't win any Norrises in his career. He might be one of the best. He might go down as one of the best defensemen to not win a Norris because he's always kind of in that next step. Just very solid, on both ends, and really solid number 2 guy in a tournament like this. So it sucks to lose him for sure.
We talked about that a little bit last night because we were talking about Adam Fox is like the tiers of defensemen like Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar kind of being in. I think Charlie McAvoy is unbelievable. Like I truly believe he's one of the best defensemen in the world. Dude, he can do everything. And just like to get burned like that by McDavid in the game on Saturday and then to answer back and play the way he did for the entirety of the rest of the game, that's what great players do. So having him be out is it sucks because I really do think he's been one of, if not our best defensemen. But yeah, it hurts. Quinn Hughes, I think they should let him play.
Yeah, I think I would agree. But I think we'll see in the next 48 hours here if there's I hear that Four Nations flu is pretty terrible this time of year, so we'll see which player that claims. Jake Sanderson.
They just need to let Tassos and I go hang with the decor for a little bit and someone will catch a cold.
It's like that scene in Goodfellas when Joe Pesci walks through the room. That's going to be Tortorella and Mike Sullivan ushering in the practice tomorrow. Oh, boy.
Greg Wyshynski had a really good tweet from ESPN. He said, if I were Jake Sanderson, I'd hire a food taster for the next 48 hours.
Yeah, they're going to slip rice in it or something.
Yeah. Is Sanderson the guy you would take out over like Hannafin?
Yeah.
You know who I would take out, but that's just for personal reasons. Brock Faber. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, probably Sanderson. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, no, the loss of McAvoy is huge. There was one point in the Four Nations game on Saturday where, it was like McAvoy had 2 or 4 hits, and it was like 2 on McDavid, 2 on Crosby.
2 on Crosby, so right? Fire. Yeah. Those are the players you want to target, right? Yeah. All good fun. But, there's a certain Blackhawks prospect who Hawks scouts looked at, and they kind of model his game after Charlie McAvoy. It's Artie Levshinov. So it's like if Levshinov could develop properly and become that type of defenseman, that would be nice.
Gosh. I would be
not to bring it back to the Hawks here, but just watching McAvoy and seeing what he does, it's like if he could turn into that type of defenseman, then okay, fair enough, Kyle. But long way to go there. But he has been playing better lately, I must say.
We need to make like a fully thought out CHR defenseman tier list.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I enjoy that, especially as a former 60 in high school.
Yeah, I think that would be good content.
Justin, how have you felt about Adam Fox at this tournament?
Underwhelmed. Like I'd say in terms of U.S. players, he's probably been the most underwhelming. Like he was kind of expected to slide into that Hughes role there in the power play. Like he literally had to get demoted to the second unit because he wasn't really doing anything. So Werenski's been great though, 5 assists or something in the tournament. Like he's stepped in that role and done a fantastic job. But Fox, yeah, definitely underwhelming, which would be my takeaway from him. Yeah,
I agree. He's just a bit overrated, and that's what happens, frankly, when you're on the New York Rangers. Yeah. Like when you're a New York Ranger, the NHL loves to pump those players out. You have a very loud owner in James Dolan who, wants his team and his players, even though he doesn't let them do any interviews with like any podcasts or anything like that, he still wants like, it's the New York Rangers. It's Madison Square Garden. It's New York City, right? Like we have the best. Isn't there 4 Rangers on Team USA?
Yeah. Trocheck, Kreider, Fox, and Miller. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
And look at the duality though. Like, look at the season that Zach Werenski's having in Columbus. And it's I feel like you hardly hear about it, probably because he plays for the Blue Jackets.
Yeah.
If he was a New Yorker, the roles are reversed, man. He'd be all you hear about. And the
be
way he's playing this tournament, I think he might be the MVP for this U.S. team right now, Zach Werenski. Honestly,
If Werenski played for the Rangers, they would have already given him the Hart Trophy. So. Yeah, I think it's because of where they play. But, dude, yeah, to your point, Werenski, I think, has been unreal, too, especially in the game last night. It was like, it kind of felt like they took the leash off of him a little bit, and it was like, all right, Werenski, go do your thing. And he was just flying.
And he makes his partners better, too. I think he's a big reason why I think Seth Jones got that 9.5 from Stan Bowman.
Yeah, you might be onto something there.
No disrespect to Seth, but he's not Zach Werenski.
Justin, something that Tassos and I have talked about on the live streams that we've been doing is like this tournament, if nothing else, has kind of, I guess, showed who's honestly like a tier list, like showed who's in kind of what category and who can play on what.
It's exposing the frauds and stuff too a little bit, like come playoff time, etc. Who the real best and best players are. Yeah, I could see that.
You know,
I mean, it's the first time we've seen this type of competition in 9 years. It definitely kind of separates the men from the boys and the dogs from those who aren't really built for this, right? I could see that too. I will say it sucked being on the sidelines this past weekend while you guys are doing those live streams. You guys have done a fantastic job with that. I've just been showing the chat the whole time, but definitely miss being with you guys there. But I definitely get that sense watching these games for sure.
Yeah. I think that's almost been maybe my favorite part about it is like we have discussions all the time and like this player or this player, who's better, this guy or this guy. I feel like this tournament
kind of answers a lot of these questions.
Really separated the man from the boys of like who can play with the best.
So then give me some examples. Who are some guys that have proven to be a level or two above what you thought? And then who are some guys that are maybe a level or two below?
I think we could do this and go through almost each team, or specifically USA Canada at least.
Just I asked for anybody.
Yeah, so I mean the Kachuk brothers are exactly who we thought they were. Nothing short of it. They're grinders, they're winners, they're dogs. There's not enough adjectives for those guys. I think Jack Eichel is the elite of the elite as well, as far as
this comes to two-way players,
two-way centers go. Yeah. He's had a point in every single game. Another assist last night.
How's he not won a Selke?
Bro, that guy's I think maybe it's part of his game that he's developed more recently the past year. But he is
obviously not. Obviously, he's not going to win that in Buffalo. But in Vegas, he'll probably win one at one point. Him and Barkov will probably swap that award. Getzel's another guy I've been super impressed with. Just his hockey IQ is off the charts. Always seems to make the right play. I've been really impressed with him for sure. I know that's a guy the Hawks looked at, but couldn't get, unfortunately, last offseason. Yeah.
I don't know. Dare I say I know he scored the most for the U.S., but I almost feel like I don't know. Yes,
you're not sold on him.
Not quite as how I've seen other guys. Yeah. I've seen people be pretty negative on Auston Matthews. Like I was just watching Daily Face Off this morning.
Although the lights are bright is when he's at his worst.
But no. But I'm not buying that shit just because he hasn't scored. I think he's been visibly through the two games. I thought he was clearly the U.S.'s best player in the first game, and honestly in the game against Canada, I thought he looked like the best player. So like I'm not on the Auston Matthews slander train.
I'm sorry though, like a guy like that has to be producing a tournament like this though.
I don't disagree with you, Justin, honestly. Like there's, keep in mind this is a guy that almost was one off from scoring 70 goals in the National Hockey League.
No goals in this tournament so far. I'd expect to nail those Matthews props for Thursday. I would hope so at least.
Well, you'd hope, but then again, keep in mind, the discussion we're having here a little bit, and
these Maple Leafs guys in these playoff games, they kind of tend to turn into ghosts.
Yeah, it's just been a lot of, it's a lot of missed nets. It's a lot of, he hit the side of the net against, was it against Canada that day? That
he had like a wide open net and missed it. Yeah. Had a few moments like that. Don't be wrong, his defense game's been great, and that's all well and good, but it's like we got to see both ends of the puck here from Auston Matthews. Yeah.
I think Matt Boldy has made it clear that he can play with anyone, anywhere, honestly. I think he's really impressed me. His two-way game is so solid.
He and Larkin have been a good kind of connection.
Yeah. Both of them, like, you trust them pretty much in any situation. You're never, wincing when they're on the ice. And then as far as Canada goes, I think I think there's like guys that have like clearly taken steps back. Like I think Brad Marchand is just,
Well, he shouldn't even be here.
yeah. Like I think he's clearly taken a step back.
He's 36 years old.
Yeah, I know. I'm still like, you still got to talk about when that happens. Like at one point in Brad Marchand's career, he would have fitted in like a glove, but he just doesn't anymore. And so, there are questions about like, is that guy still elite? I would argue not so. I think Brandon Hagel has impressed me, honestly.
Oh, such a dog. Yeah. The balls to take on Matthew DeChuck on Saturday, dude. Unreal.
And not just that, I feel like I don't know, I thought he looked pretty good yesterday in the matinee game against Finland. I mean, obviously McKinnon and McDavid, although McKinnon I thought was a little quiet in the USA game. I think McDavid is clearly the best player on the planet. Crosby.
Oh, come on, dude. Are you kidding me? He's bailed Ken out how many
all right.
times in his tournament,
Right,
dude?
just take
3 assists in the first game.
Take a minute
bailed
off
him
the
out
mic,
of that.
dude.
They almost choked the 4-0
But
lead.
where was he?
The
Where was he
4-0
on
lead, and he iced
Saturday?
them.
Where was he on Saturday? He was giving Dylan Larkin a great assist. He assisted
Okay,
Dylan Larkin on that beautiful goal.
I
Where
mean,
was he on Saturday?
all
What are we
right,
doing?
What?
It's
So
just
you're
the
basing this off of
glaze.
one bad turnover. Otherwise, he's been one of their best players in the tournament.
Oy
He's
vey.
37 years old. I've been more impressed with him than I would say McKinnon and co, honestly.
Yeah, no, leading's a minute off the mic. I asked him to give me like a player or two that are like have impressed, and he's just like naming everybody and saying random things. So just take a breather here for a second. Take a
Get off your phone and podcast.
I'm looking at different.
Oh my God!
I'm
You're
looking
about
at
to make
different
me
things.
punch a wall.
Yeah, no, take a lap, brother.
Hopefully Uncle Sid, they're gonna need him to. Hopefully he doesn't bail him out again against us.
Oh
right?
my
If
God!
I see,
Stop
If I
it!
see another golden goal, I'm gonna lose it.
So some players for me that have either elevated their status or diminished their status in my mind a little bit. I've been really impressed with Devin Tays in this tournament for Canada. On a back end that is just like hurting for guys right now. He's just like eating a ton of minutes, like really he's a water bug out there. He jumps in the play offensively. He's really sound defensively.
Compliments McCarr perfectly.
Keep in mind, this is a guy that the New York Islanders gave to the Colorado Avalanche for 2 second-round picks. And,
what a stupid trade that's
what a horrific trade that is. Like, that's a guy that, for a lot of people, he was already in that upper echelon of defensemen in the NHL. But just for me, it kind of confirmed it. I always thought he was a little small. I didn't really know how well he could handle some of the stiffer competition of some of these games. Some players for me, honestly, that have taken a step back or just, might be a little bit less than what I thought. Rupe Hintz.
He was invisible.
Atrocious.
Yeah.
I don't think he had any production whatsoever.
And
I hardly even
Aho.
noticed him out there.
Yeah, Aho too. I'm still really
Should
high
have played
on Sebastian
Tampa with him.
Aho.
Why did you scratch Tampa last night, dude?
Yeah,
No
I don't know.
sense.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But Aho and Rantanen, to me, they were just both unimpressive. I don't really think any less of them as players. I don't really think of Rupe Hintz a lot less as a player. I just think he might be a little bit below what we thought of him. You know what I mean? But I still think Aho and Rantanen are fantastic players. It's just like, and we can get into some of the thoughts.
They didn't
on the
really take
eliminated
over
teams.
any games.
They
Can I
didn't do anything in any of those games.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something about Rantanen?
Sure.
Is he still the guy that we favor over Marner?
No, just like if this guy's asking for $14 million, shouldn't you be like, hey, dude, remember when you didn't impress at this tournament of all the best players in the world?
Okay.
I'm not really sure if
Is
this
that
Four
fair?
Nations
I'm
tournamen's
asking,
going to
I'm
have
asking.
much to do with these
That-
negotiations.
Oh, please.
Saying that is like when kids go to the World Juniors and they have a bad World Juniors and then you paint them in this hole as a prospect and you're like, oh, well, this kid is like a bad prospect now because he had a bad 2 weeks at the World Juniors.
Yeah, like Easton Collins is a good
that's
example
never
of that.
happened. No one
I'm
ever
saying
does that.
No, people do that all the time, but it's not. It's not a correct way to evaluate prospects, is what I'm saying.
I think
Now teams are really doing that. It's more like fans.
It's more
and media
fans
and
that
shit.
do that. Yes.
Yeah. It's a factor, of course, but I think they're caring more about what he's doing in NHL land versus this tournament.
Yes.
which he also hasn't been doing much. So
Yeah, I mean-
that's a fair point. But to say it's based off of these like 3 games that the Four Nations face
it
off,
doesn't
is
help
Yeah,
him.
I will say I've been more impressed with Marner. He finally had his clutch moment there too. So I feel like he's kind of been quieter since
He
then.
was
I will say.
invisible against USA. What?
No, I said that he's been quieter since then. But I think of the two, I've been more impressed with him in this tournament. To be fair, even though
right.
Rantanen
To be fair,
is my Rantanen. I'm still would prefer Rantanen, but I see the vision for Marner's on the table. Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't prefer Rantanen at this point, but it's not because of 3 games at the Four Nations face-off. It's because of
fair enough.
I didn't say it was just because of that.
Okay,
Let's not be egregious right
Yes,
now.
but
I don't know what we're doing on this.
Yeah, I mean, to give Lee credit here, like he has been, the production hasn't really been there so far in Carolina, but is that more due to the system than the player?
Yeah, I do think it's probably more towards the system, but not everybody.
It's the system. It's just 3 games at the Four Nations.
Those are whoa. Hold on.
What are we? We're fucking Mikko Rantanen apologists right now. Like, what are we?
No, I'm just saying that I said this weeks ago that I said that when they first acquired him and they were like 3 games into this. It's like Rod Brind'Amour plays a really hard style of hockey, which is why players struggle when coming in mid-season, like Jake Gensel did last year. Like he didn't light the world on fire when he got to Carolina, and that's why these guys burn out in the playoffs and they can't go on a run to the Stanley Cup final, because you can't play that way for 4 rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs if you don't have the horses.
When he was traded, you said on this show that he is undoubtedly a top 10 player in the NHL. Do you still believe that?
Yes.
Okay.
10, 12, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To give Lee a little more credit here, I mean, we'll probably get into this more later, but we'll tee it up a little bit. There have been rumors going around that if Rantanen continues not to be a fit there in Carolina, that he could get flipped again before the deadline. That sounds like a bunch of baloney to me, but that's out there. I don't know. I mean, it is out there. I think it sounds ridiculous, but like it's out there, so we can go acknowledge it, right? I don't know.
Yeah, apparently some of the big podcasts are talking about it.
Really?
No,
are we not a big podcast?
We are the big podcast.
Somebody in chat said some of the big podcasts are talking about. We are the big podcast.
Get the fuck out of here.
What does he think he's talking about, man? The disrespect.
Chicago Hockey Radio. Man, I'm forgetting the name of this podcast twice today now.
Jesus, dude.
We must not be that big if we can't remember our name.
Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know where we want to go from here. Okay, we could talk a little bit about Quinn Hughes. Like, I think Quinn would be obviously a huge addition to this. I don't know what the likelihood is that somebody, maybe it's higher than I'm giving it credit.
I think it's pretty likely.
You think so? Honestly,
Canadians fans are going to absolutely lose their minds if it happens. But again, I'm not saying it would be, I'm kind of joking when I say it would be disingenuous, but you don't think that they're going to, if somebody's not feeling 100%, if you're feeling 99% that Quinn Hughes isn't going in, I don't know.
I don't think they should even have to do that. I think they should change the rules and let him play.
I know it's different. Like Canada was allowed to play,
but
Thomas Harley. But like, is it because
It's because they had Makar and Theodore out, so it's because they went down to 5. Yeah. So I understand that, but guys, can we all come together, my Canadian brothers?
Just best on best hockey.
Can we just? When have we had an opportunity like this as hockey fans to like really grab the world and say, watch this?
It's like they were without and that would make the game totally like even as well. No excuses, right? Because like you could say Canada was out without Cale Makar Saturday, but we were without Quinn Hughes. Now it's like you have them both back in the lineup. Boom. Those are the 2 best defensemen in the world going at it. Why would you not want to watch that? I don't know.
And as a USA fan, I want Cale Makar in the lineup for Canada come Thursday. Yes.
I don't want any asterisks. Yeah. I want to face all their best players. And so I think for Canada fan, it should be the same way. Yeah.
Dude, in Tassos, that's when I first walked in here, you were like, well, then Canada should be able... Let Canada bring in whoever they want. If you think Tom Wilson moves the needle for you, bring in Tom Wilson. You can start him at fucking on the first line with McDavid. I don't care. Bring in whoever you want.
Yeah. No, honestly, it goes both ways. That's fair to say.
Let's make this game the biggest fucking thing ever.
Okay, well then...
It feels like they've already been making up rules they went along this tournament, so this isn't really changing anything there.
But that's not true. That's not, that's not true, though. Like, they haven't been making up rules. Like, what rules have they been making up? Explain yourself.
Well, the Thomas Harley thing, they were like, he can play, but if this man is sick before the morning skate, he's fine. But it's okay that he was at the morning skate. He just has to wait 2 hours until the sun goes down past 10 o'clock. That's exactly what they've been doing.
That sounds like the Canada apologist over
here. Each team carried 7 defensemen on their roster. When it got down below 6, that is when you are allowed to add somebody on the ice. That was the rule.
Yeah.
Okay.
But-
so when Cale Makar is out there for the morning skate on Saturday.
They flew him in when Cale Makar was still questionable. So Cale
Here's the thing,
Makar was still listed in the lineup. They still had 6 defensemen.
That's
they
why
flew
Quinn
Thomas
Hughes is
Harley.
there.
It's not like
Right
Quinn
now.
Hughes is like a new name too. Like he was already slated to play in this tournament, and then
But
got
he
hurt. So I think it's
relinquished
a
his
different
spot.
situation.
He relinquished his spot on the team when the
I
tournament.
guess. I don't know.
Why are you fighting this battle? Why are you doing this? Who gains anything
Because
from
we're
this?
saying that they're
Weird
making-
argument, is it not?
No, because we're saying they're making up rules when they aren't. And
This whole thing is made up. This 4 nations facing off, but only NHL players.
Yeah, but
Or only
That would be my new
Urban
favorite
Meyer.
quote from Sidney Crosby: 4 nations facing off. We should make that a T-shirt or something.
Tom Harley was only allowed to go.
He's
when-
American. He's like barely Canadian.
Who? Harley?
Yeah, he was born in New York, wasn't he?
I don't know.
This is news to me.
Yeah, I have
Somebody
no
check
idea.
that guy's birth certificate.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Thomas Harley, look where he's born.
Okay, I just
Be playing for us at this rate.
It wouldn't shock me if this
He's
was
he's a dual citizen.
okay. Either way, like this isn't yeah, no, this isn't he was born in Syracuse, New York. How about that?
Wow,
Dude.
curious, noticing.
Oh my god.
His parents were born in Edmonton.
He was
Yeah.
born in Syracuse. Yes.
Okay. No,
Wow, they got something right.
I'm just saying, yeah, no, finally one of you two hit something on the head here.
Oh my god.
No, it's not like they're not making up rules. They're not like the standard is the same for both teams. Like Thomas Harley wasn't allowed to play until until they got down to 5 defensemen with Shea Theodore out. Like then, Travis Sanheim had to draw in the lineup, right? And then as soon as Cale Makar was out, Thomas Harley became eligible. The U.S. still has a, if we're talking a McAvoy replacement is Jake Sanderson.
Do you understand that you are making an argument in favor of the integrity of a made-up tournament that's never happened before? Like, What are we doing? Let's have the best players play on Thursday. Why? Why do we have to have an argument?
Okay, let's just
Fun allowed, not fun.
Let's play 25-minute periods, and let's just. What are we doing, dude? Let's just make up rules for hockey.
No, we're not changing the rules of the sport. We're just letting the best American player play.
Okay.
Is this a crazy argument? Chat, maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, I know there's Canadians in chat, and I know
Well, I'm
you
sure the
guys might be
Canadians in
feeling-
chat will be on Tassos' side here.
But are you guys hearing me out?
Also, good point made by chat that if we're saying Thomas Harley grew up in New York, like the Hughes brothers grew up in Canada, so
But weren't they born in Florida though?
Yeah, but they grew up in Canada.
Oh,
they
well,
grew up in Toronto.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Lee, you're 100% wrong. Okay. All right.
Thank you. Yeah.
I mean, if that's how soft you Canadians are, that you're just like, no, the rules here for the 4 Nations handbook states that you have to drop below 6
I don't think that's a Canadian chirping you. I think that's just somebody telling you that.
I doubt it. I doubt this is a diehard USA fan saying, yes, technically, I do not think Quinn Hughes should be able to play on. Dude, go on Twitter.
I don't think he shouldn't be able to play. I'm just saying that somebody else is going to need to mysteriously pop up as injured for.
Oh, you know what's going to happen these next 2 days?
I believe you. I honestly do believe you that if
Jake Sanderson's going to stub his toe tomorrow.
something's going to happen, watch. Like honestly, dude, I wouldn't even be surprised if Austin Matthews is like, my pinky hurts or something like that.
Tummy ache. Jeez.
I
Why
wouldn't be
was he
surprised.
playing yesterday? Like the Chuck brothers had an excuse, but I didn't see a proper excuse for Matthews, Mr. All-American over there.
Yeah, I was confused about that. I guess he's had the same nagging injury all year, I guess, and maybe that's bothered. What is his injury? Dude, this is that argument we had on the show a while ago where I think you do yourself. I think these players are done a massive disservice by there being no
disclosures
of what the injuries are, because then you just get fans speculating and you get them pissed off.
Hockey's different though. You can't really do that because hockey players will, if they know it's your back, they will cross-check you in the back.
You say that, but I still think that it's I think you're risking more. I think this is worse. I think not saying anything about the injury is worse than saying what it is.
Then having somebody target that specific injury.
Yeah, I do.
If it's like, oh, I have a wrist injury, and then somebody like
I don't
two
think
hands
that
slashes
happens.
you in the wrist.
I don't think that happens as much as fans attacking Austin Matthews for randomly sitting out of the game when we know Matthew Tkachuk is going to play on Thursday, and we know he's going to be injured, and so everyone's going to attack Austin Matthews. Everyone is.
Yeah, but if you're Austin Matthews, you shouldn't be paying attention to that stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
I like that Chuck was rambling in the
what the money's
booth yesterday
for.
during the game too.
But it's not just him paying attention to that stuff. It's like when he's negotiating contracts. If I'm signing Austin Matthews, I'm going to be like, hey, dude, you're never available in the postseason because you have like nagging injuries that other guys have the similar injuries and play through. I'm using that as a bargaining chip to sign Austin Matthews less money.
yeah, but I'm not negotiating.
It's not just fans. It's not just me saying it.
Brad Treliving and the Maple Leafs and USA Hockey know what's wrong with Austin Matthews. Just because you don't know what's wrong with Austin Matthews doesn't mean they don't.
Yeah, and they know he's Charmin soft.
Okay, well,
Charmin ultra soft. Patrick Kane's my real American hockey goat. He would never sit out a game like that.
none of these guys are American hockey goats. These are all the first times they've played for Team USA. None of them are goats.
Somebody in chat did point out, Trevor said, does it have to be a defender? I think Sweden rolled with 7 defensemen yesterday. Yeah, that's a good point. Is Quinn? Yeah, so is Quinn Hughes allowed to play if one of these forwards is out?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, there we go.
That's allowed for the rules at the Four Nations face-off, where 4 nations are facing off.
Good. Then sit.
I will say I hope this happens because the coping and seething, the tears from these Canadian fans would fill up the Gulf of America. So I hope
that's
happens.
not true. That's not true.
The only reason why I'm getting so upset about this is like I really do not remember a time in the past 10, 15 years where like an event has captured the entire not the planet, but like the country. And I'm sure it's the same thing in Canada. Like the NHL has
the rivalry is back, dude. Like, look at this.
Dude,
like, it doesn't get better than USA
the
Canada.
Sport is back. I know they were arguing on Kipper and Bourne that the sport's not bad, whatever. But dude, all eyes are going to be on this game Thursday. Have the best players in it. Have the best players. Like, don't force Jake Sanderson in over Quinn Hughes just because the rules.
It's not the rules, it's the standard. There's a difference between.
Oh, dear.
It's the like.
This isn't the Olympics or the World
It's
Cup.
not. It's the 4 nations.
Okay, but then then you're saying that like if rules had been different, then like Canada could have brought in somebody sooner, and maybe that game on Saturday goes a little differently. And then
So it's if.
And then Canada's able to rest guys on Monday versus the U.S. needing to. You know what I'm saying? Like,
dude, chat is on your side. Chat's telling me to
course
shut
they
Of
are.
course.
I don't
Chat
care.
a bunch of
I
nerds
think
over there.
you are all completely wrong and moronic for suggesting that the rules of the 4 nations face-off
It's
is
the
more important than
standard of
having
the
the
4
best.
nations
The
face-off.
standard of the 4 nations.
If this was the other way
face-off.
around, they would not give a shit about these
Yes,
standards.
they would be saying if Cale McCarr was injured and then they said he wasn't going to come to this tournament. If Canada was in the U.S. shoes, they would be saying, "Oh, we should have the best players playing here. Cale McCarr should be allowed to play." They would all be saying the same thing. I'm not convinced. Get out of here. You guys are wrong.
Yeah, they'd be on the same delusional side that you both
This
are
is
on.
why the NHL
But then
is
you
never.
would be on the same side as me, being like, "Oh well,
No, I wouldn't.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would.
I've already said on the show that I want Cale McCarr to play on Thursday.
He is going to play on Thursday.
Good. I don't want
He
Canada.
played yesterday.
I don't want Canada to be shorthanded. I want Canada to start Aiden Hill over Jordan Bennington because I think Aiden Hill's a better
No,
goalie.
please start Jordan Bennington.
Yeah,
He's gonna choke. He's feeling nervous.
Well,
I
that's gonna happen.
don't want asterisks. I don't want excuses. I want best on best hockey between Canada and the United States. I do not care about semantics or the fucking This is why the NHL will never be able to compete with the NBA, the NFL, because you guys are so moronic, stuck in your ways that you're arguing that, oh, we need extra guys injured for Quinn Hughes. Let the best players play. What are we doing, guys?
It's adjusting.
My God.
That's adjusting the standard for the U.S.
Do it.
I'm still recovering from my birthday night, and Lee's shouting in the headphones. Isn't helping my case over here, but it's entertaining.
You guys got me hot. You guys have pissed me off.
By the way, I got thank you guys. Whoever put together that thumbnail for today, spot on.
Oh, that was Lee. He worked really hard on that one.
Oh yeah, there we go. It was actually yesterday too. It's not today, but yeah, appreciate it.
It was actually Tassos. He worked really hard on it.
Okay, well, who made the thumbnail for your Saturday night live stream?
I don't know. What are we doing? Who made the clip? Who made our best ever clip? Me! Anyway, so we have some other topics to discuss.
Oh my God, we should hit a break, honestly.
Yeah, I'm speechless right now. I got nothing.
All right, we should hit a break. An hour just about, and we have solved nothing. We're gonna take a quick break, and on the other side, we'll be back with more Four Nations Face Off Blow Up on Chicago Hockey Radio. Keep it here. Right back at you, second hour, Chicago Hockey Radio, brought to you by the Elithio Network. Justin Lynch, Lee Grossman, Tassos Kirkos.
Lee looks like he wants to strangle you over there.
Yeah, Lee did a lap around the studio during the break.
That's I had to do a few of these. I was sweating.
Yeah. Welcome back. I am going to remind you guys once again to please subscribe to the Chicago Hockey Radio YouTube channel. We are 18 away from being able to bring you guys Chicago Hockey Radio Plus, which will be a bonus episode recorded after Monday's episodes. We are going to do it won't be a 2 hour, it'll probably be a 1 hour episode, just once a week, a little pop culture, little
pop culture references. Hell yeah.
Yeah, non-hockey talk. Anything we want to talk about that is not hockey related. You will be able to get one one bonus episode a week. I need to drink my water too. One bonus episode a week. So we are currently working on that. We are 18 subscribers away. So, you can have your friends do it, even if they're not into hockey, even if they're not into the Blackhawks, just be like, hey, buddy, I need a bonus episode of Chicago Hockey. I need a bonus episode of this podcast. I need
give me some more of that CHR.
Yeah, I need some more CHR in my life. I need you to
Can't
just
get
hit
enough
the
of it.
subscribe of it. Yeah.
It's too addicting.
Yeah, I need you to hit the subscribe button for me. Please just go ahead and do that. You don't need to listen to the content. Just hit the subscribe button. The content's for me.
I had aunts and uncles in the live stream last night subbing. We had a horn going off. It was
we're not
the Grossman clan. Yeah, the horn was going off a ton. We were just so horny for those subs.
Absolutely, we were turned up.
Yeah. So please do that. It helps us out a lot. And we want to be able to bring you guys a bonus episode, but we can't do it until we get a little over 500. So really appreciate you guys. It means a lot. Okay. I think we've all settled down here a little bit, settled into.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I need you to settle down at the very least. We might need to, give you a little bit of a muscle relaxer or something.
I think we need to see a Tassos Lee throwdown. Maybe that'll be in the CHR bonus episodes.
Yeah, maybe.
Boxing match.
Yeah.
I think that'd have to be. I think there'd have to be a little more scratch for Tassos and I to try to hurt each other.
Yeah, no, I just
Well, this Thursday
a
game
little
could
bit
be
more
exactly what we need.
a little bit more than $9.99 a month.
I think so.
To take a few punches to the face. But yeah, all right. So we're back. We've done a lot of teeing up. We did a lot of the news and the thoughts. We could do a little bit more Four Nations talk. I don't know if you guys wanted to maybe talk a little bit about
confrontation of Four Nations in France.
What? Okay.
In France, it's like the confrontation of Four Nations. Like that's what's painted on the ice, right? Yeah.
What is
in the
France?
Bell Center?
What is France?
Am I
missing something?
Like French Canada, Quebec, right?
Oh.
Yeah, in the Bell Center. Yeah.
That was a long.
Right.
That was a long
I'd
drink.
explain that one.
That
But...
was a long drink of water for that one, Justin. I know it's your first episode back in a few.
Yeah,
days.
I think I feel a little rusty. My bad.
Justin's really itching to contribute to this one. But
oh my gosh, he's coming off the birthday. He was.
That's my excuse. I'm a little.
What'd you do yesterday?
Not 100% in the head here, if you know what I mean.
Would you do anything yesterday? Would you do?
I say that like I just didn't spend it basically just watching the Four Nations.
Yeah, right.
But,
I bet he was
I was just watching the live stream.
I watched you guys' live
Boozing.
streams. Yeah.
You had a few pops. You had a few pops.
Maybe, allegedly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, you only turned 22 once, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what they say.
The best way you can celebrate Justin's birthday, all he wants for his birthday is more subscribers to Chicago Hockey Radio.
That's really what I want to see. Let's get us to 500 this week.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be
500. How about tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Thursday for the championship game? We got so much in that last year. I think we got 10. So
I think we could do it.
We could probably get 500 by the end of the when the championship's decided. Yeah,
I think so too.
I think so.
Yeah, in a minimum, we'll definitely hit it well above by the live show for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Do you guys maybe want to talk about like the teams obviously that are not playing in the championship? I know that it's not the excitement of the USA Canada discussion, right? But this wasn't
the
Four
filler
Nations
teams.
face off. This wasn't a Two Nations face off.
Feels like it though.
Who do you guys think had the better tournament out of the two?
Finland.
I would say, considering expectations, I would say Finland. I mean, I think if they had Heiskanen too, I mean, I hate to put these ifs in there, but I do think that would have been a boon to them, right? I mean, I know for most of that game they were dominated by Canada, but hey, credit to them. They hung in there and they made it interesting in the end. I think if they got some better goaltending there, maybe that game goes differently. But just the fact they were without a guy like that in their blue line, like I thought for the most part, they held together there. At least against Sweden. I know they got blown out by the U.S., but even for that game, like for 40 minutes, it was close. So I think Finland, all things considered, the fact that they came out on top against Sweden too, like I think they'll be pretty proud of that. I think Laine seems to think they're not that they're the big brother now, so I'm not really sure about that. But their national stage, you look at it, Finland tends to outperform Sweden. Sweden tends to choke at this level, and this was no different in this tournament. Yeah, they get the win against the U.S., but it's like, I think if that game meant something to us and we had our top guns, I don't think they would have beat us. But anyway, that's another story. So yeah, long drink of water to say that I think I was more impressed with Finland. Yeah.
Me too. I do want to say that Finland in these international tournaments, and it's not just like this. It's the World Championships, which I consume all the time. It's past Olympics, which they always, for a while it was like, oh, plucky Finland, like here they are getting a medal again. Like here's Finland getting a medal, winning the World Juniors, this, that, and the other. They stick to an identity that's like hunkering down, it's grind you down hockey. It's, we're going to keep this close as long as possible and hopefully get the lucky bounce at the very end to come out on top here because this is hockey and that's how that works. And it just like they did it against the U.S. for so long, and then
once the dam burst, it was over.
Once that Matt Boldy goal went in at the end of the second period, it just felt like they totally abandoned all of that, and they never regained it. Even during that Finland-Sweden game that we live streamed on Saturday, like they didn't necessarily play to that identity. To get that win.
Sweden lost that game as much as they won it.
Yeah, I agree.
They were going like blow for blow. They were like trading instead of, to your point,
which
Finland
they can do against a team like Sweden, but they can't do against
the US and Canada. They get exposed. Yeah. I mean, for most of that game, for 55 minutes, they were swimming against Canada. The Canada almost they kind of stopped playing the last 5 minutes, but like for most of that game, it wasn't even close. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And, we talked about some of the players that I was underwhelmed with, the Rupe Hintz, the Sebastian Aho, Mikko Rantanen. There's a whole article on Daily Faceoff that just said like how poor Mikko Rantanen was today. That was the headline of the article. I didn't read it. I just was headline gouging. But, Yeah, I don't know. I just, for all the other thing too is like the goaltending situation was kind of a mess. Personally, I said it on the live stream yesterday. I would have pulled Kevin Lankinen after the 2-0 goal. The first
they
McKinnon
waited
won.
way too long to do that. Way too long.
Yeah.
He was not in it. I was all surprised. I know he had a strong game, but like, recently, but like I would have started Saros in that game. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I going into the tournament, the discussion around Finland was, man, UC Saros is going to need to stand on his head. And then you totally abandon him after one game in the tournament.
Yeah, after one bad period against the U.S. one, it's like the whole team collapsed. Like, okay, that's his fault. I mean, he's used to that in the Predators this season.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I think I'm somewhere. I understand starting Lankinen in that Canada game just after he got the win a couple days prior. But yeah, after the second goal in like whatever it was, 5 minutes, dude, you gotta yank him. Do something. Yeah, no. They did call a timeout, I think, after the second goal. But yeah,
it's like you thought that was coming then, the timeout, but it didn't. Yeah.
So I think that probably would have been the time to do it.
Just felt like Sasha Barkov was like on an island for the most part.
It did.
Yeah.
He still somehow had moments, in like all the games where I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It was a little underwhelming. I do think that, and maybe it's because they play so much together, but I did think that the Florida boys, Lesterainen and Lindell, had a pretty solid tournament, and I thought, I thought
Mikalo too.
I thought Laine on that line was pretty well. I thought Henry Jokiharju impressed.
Blackhawk's legend. Yeah, he had the only goal against us. Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying like he's a legit, top defenseman or anything like that. But I mean, if you're a team, heading to the playoffs here, a Henry Jokiharju on your bottom pairing would
do a lot worse.
You could do a lot worse.
Like a 7th D, like just a fill-in guy, like that works too. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I will say, I know the defense was really shorthanded, but it honestly didn't look as bad.
They held their own.
No.
Yeah. All things considered, they held their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That Martin Paulo kid, like he was playing for them.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't the 7th guy. He was the 6th guy.
Yeah.
Like he was playing for them. And he didn't.
I first heard about who he is when I saw his name on the roster.
Yeah. When you're like playing against Sidney Crosby before you get your first point in the NHL, like
woof. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but like, it could have been a lot worse, is what I'm saying. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For most people, like, Czechia, like, shouldn't be here because, like, they couldn't quite ice a full NHL roster. It's like, I mean, Finland has guys like that in their deep corral. There's another thing, but they look respectable. Yeah.
Czechia shouldn't be there because it's a small plot of land in the country of Russia. But
oh my god, I'm never gonna learn. I'm never gonna learn.
No, Jesus. Honestly, I hope you never do because it's a great ongoing bit.
Yeah, it's a great running gag here. Yeah, for sure.
I saw somebody on Twitter said that Sweden never lost in regulation and then beat US in the regulation and didn't make it to the final. And I'm like, all right,
they were the worst team.
Yeah. It's like you're painting a picture for them. That's I just think
they were the most underwhelming team.
Sweden was like the Blackhawks, man. They had 2 4-3 overtime losses. So we're pretty used to that over here.
Yeah. No, true. I feel like I've heard so many mixed reviews on how Erik Karlsson looked. Justin, how did you feel he played this tournament? Because I think,
considering he's 2025 Erik Karlsson, like I think he could have been worse, but like at the same time, I don't think he was really like a big difference maker for them either, and definitely had his moments. But I wouldn't say he was like the problem per se. Why they were. Why I would put those games at him, but he did have. What was the game? He had a pretty brutal turnover. Was it the overtime winner against Finland actually that he was on the ice for, and maybe went to the goal? But I don't think he was okay. I don't think he was really good or bad. Yeah.
And I mean, how about Elias Pettersson? Elias Pettersson played less than 10 minutes.
Dude, I literally didn't even. I did not notice him at all in this tournament. He was a ghost.
Another Daily Face-Off headline from today was how much did Elias Pettersson's trade value plummet during the Four Nations face-off?
I mean, it must be said. It's like you look at his production this year too. Like, when's the last time he even had a point or like did anything? Like he's been yikes. I mean, it's like trading JT Miller hasn't exactly solved that problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall, I mean, neither of them. I don't think JT Miller has a point. either this far in the
Yeah, but I
tournament.
would expect Pedersen to be more of a difference maker on Sweden than JT Miller on the US, right? Because I mean Pedersen's like a top 6 guy there, whereas Miller's kind of more of a middle 6 for us.
And I would argue that JT Miller has been more impactful for a better US team than Elias
And
Pettersson
at least he
was
showed some heart. I mean, he had that fight. He's got an ass handed to him, but like just to stick up and fight a guy like Pareko, I thought was pretty cool. I think he and the Chucks had that plan in the group chats over there, which Hagel had some words for that, but that was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, no, so I don't want to come on here again and say that, you know, the Four Nations is really going to affect somebody's value, because apparently that was a slanderous thing for Lee to say. But now when Daily Face-Off uses it as the top of an article, it checks out. But
I didn't say.
I mean, it's a factor.
It's a
factor.
I'm just saying I'm headline reading, dude. I'm just saying what people are writing about.
I know. No, but do you think there's like truth to that? Like, you know, how does
think
that
it's trade value.
what does Vancouver do with Elias Pettersson?
I think his trade value is already really low.
Yeah.
Like,
it feels like they missed their chance if they wanted to move on from him.
Yes and no. You know, I think they could still move him if they wanted to.
Yeah, just the return probably wouldn't even be worth it.
I mean, the
return was always too high for Elias Pettersson. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was the equivalent of like 2 first-round picks and a high-end prospect.
Like the value was like the player he was 2 seasons ago, but he hasn't been worth that the last little while.
Yeah, right now it looks like the return for Vancouver would be not having to pay Elias Pettersson that much money.
Yeah, there's no guarantee he finds that form again too. I mean, yeah.
Frankly, and here's the thing: like, cap space is an asset in the National Hockey League.
Absolutely.
You know, like, people give picks people package picks with bag contracts for teams to take on.
Absolutely.
So I'm not saying Elias Pettersson is at that point, but you know, getting 11.5 million. No, he's not that close.
Okay. Is he really that much?
Yes,
it's
11.5, Justin.
He's making $1 million more than freaking Katie Tays did after their cups. Yes. I know that was 10 years ago, but Jesus Christ, what the hell did he do to earn that? Yeah, 100-point season, fine, but like, dude, I knew it was in that ballpark. I didn't know the exact amount. Maybe that's not great for me, but you know,
it's
I'll
11.5.
So you say that
that's
he's
even
not
more than I thought.
You say he's not at that level yet, but like, how much longer does this persist before you're like putting him in the category of like a Seth Jones contract?
Honestly, this might be worse than a Seth Jones contract right now. Is that crazy to say?
Justin's looking at it right now and his head's exploding. It's pretty bad, isn't it?
11 goals, 23 assists in 49 games. Yeah, there we go. There's your 11.5 production. What the hell?
Yeah, so it's like if it's another, you know, if he finishes
and this goes till 2032. Oh my goodness.
What if they make the playoffs and he's really quiet again in the postseason? Like,
I don't think they're going to be seeing the playoffs for a while there, so I don't think that's really a concern.
Well, aren't they like in a spot currently?
Yeah, right now. I don't know. I mean, they're not going to do anything if they make it.
Yeah, but I'm banking real hard on, you know, the Calgary Flames.
Yeah, Flames got to step up their game here. What happened? We got to get
my Vancouver Canucks, baby.
Yeah, you better hope Elias Pettersson returns to form here quickly.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think this Four Nations break did much to bring that confidence back like everybody thought. Yeah.
Yeah, and just Sweden looked really underwhelming the whole time, you know.
Just soft.
I don't blame, you know, Philip Gustafsson at all. You know, I guess they had a bit of the flu going around the team.
Yeah, sure.
Because, well, you know, they pulled Philip Gustafsson from his start on Saturday.
And yours was better. They should have stuck with him in the tournament.
Yeah, he looked good yesterday. When they announced he was starting, I was like, "Oh, okay, this is about to be 5-0 US." Without like,
I thought, and they scored right away too. Less than a minute in, it looked like that's the way the game was going to go. But he locked in after that. Was not expecting Team USA to get goalied by Sam Earson, but yeah, there we go. He was looking like Soda in that.
I thought Ottinger had a pretty good game yesterday. He made some like unreal saves.
He was okay.
No, dude, he let in 2 goals. Clearly, the loss was 100% his fault. I'm making fun of the Team Canada fans who are blaming Binnington for that Saturday game. Like he was the reason they lost that game. Well, I thought that was funny. Yeah, the goals were soft, but it's like when you only score 1 goal, I think that's why you lost the game.
Yeah, not to go back to Saturday's USA Canada, but what I will say about Jordan Binnington and his performance is, especially the first goal, the Jake Gensel goal, like it's not just like the fact that it was soft and it's like, yeah, okay, how do you blame the goaltending on it in a 2-1 hockey game? Really, 3-1 with an empty net, but 2-1 hockey game. You know, that goal did two things. One, first of all, if you don't let in the Jake Gensel goal, that game is 1-1 going into overtime, right?
You say that, but if you have a different goalie in for Bennington, maybe he makes that save, but maybe that goalie doesn't make a save that Bennington did make. Like, he can't play.
He made some big saves to bail him out, too.
Yeah, like, you can't say that, like,
I think Montembeau
like
is going to be better, or
and,
maybe Hill. I don't know. Yeah.
The other thing that goal did was, you know, when we were streaming that game, just watching the game, and you could tell, like, that Connor McDavid goal blew the roof off that building.
Yeah, it quieted him down real quick.
It did. All the momentum, all the energy that you had was immediately sucked right out the moment that
the tides have turned.
Yeah. Like, how are you know, maybe if that goal doesn't go in, Canada scores another one before the period ends, right? To, like, you know, really, you know, but then all the momentum was gone after that goal goes in.
That's another reason I feel so much more confident going to this game Thursday. It's like people are forgetting where the goalie advantage still lies, and it's Team USA. I mean, hello, Buck and Ned. I feel pretty damn good that we can beat them again. Yeah.
Canada,
especially when they're relying on Bennington. Yeah.
Canada fans, I would let you, if it were up to me, I would let you bring in Tom Wilson and Logan Thompson in for this game on Thursday.
In return for Hughes?
Obviously.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Tom Wilson's going to be the guy who drives the ship.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
They're so delusional,
the
man.
Canadian Cope is crazy. That they lost that game, and we're like, man, what is Tom? I wonder what Tom Wilson's doing right now. It's like, what are we doing, guys?
Sam Bennett made a big difference when they undressed him to go against the Chucks. That went real well.
Yeah, it's like, what are we like? I mean, if that's what you think, let's do it. But
yeah, there we go. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are better players I would send over there over Tom Wilson to give him a shot. Definitely no bias there, you know, wink, wink. But yeah,
yeah, I don't know. The goalie thing is interesting because it's like it's such like a hypothetical that it's like, oh, if you had a different goalie in for Bennington, maybe he makes that save on Gensel and that building's rocking for a little longer. But yeah, what if you know, one of this make-believe goalie that you have in for Bennington lets up a couple others in the second period? Then you're blaming him, and yeah, I don't know.
I feel like that's 99% of sports dialogue is like hypothetical situations that didn't happen. Oh, if this happened, then this would have occurred.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know. That's what happens when you don't want to put the blame on the team that you ice out, right?
Yeah, like the U.S. lost 2-1 versus Sweden last night. It was like, you know, Jake Ottinger letting us. That first goal was kind of soft. It like squeaked right through him. The U.S. hit the post 5 or 6 times. Like, what, you know, like we scored.
And
one
just the
goal.
stakes of the game are a valid excuse too. Like, I think for Sweden, it's like you don't want to go in this tournament winless as well. So yeah. They have more to play for than us. Yeah.
I think the other thing we're learning about this, you know, not to make this an Erik Karlsson discussion, even though I have some thoughts on Erik Karlsson, really, and maybe
get him off your chest.
Yeah, no,
let's hear him.
My thoughts about Erik Karlsson lend more to my thoughts about Kyle Dubas. You know,
He's
just
the bad situation there.
Yeah, the moves he made in Pittsburgh to extend the window of the Crosby, Malkin, Letang core. It blew up in his face. Like you know, they sent a first-round pick to the San Jose Sharks for Erik Karlsson. That pick was Sam Dickinson, just so everybody knows. They signed Tristan. He extended Tristan Jarry on a 5-year contract that is now he's being employed by the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins right now. You know, the Ryan Graves contract, essentially, like I don't even. You know, Ryan Graves doesn't have.
Does he even have a point this year? Yeah,
no points in the NHL this season.
How did I even get one just by accident?
You know, and so the Erik Karlsson thing, like Erik Karlsson's a okay hockey player. Like we know what Erik Karlsson is. He won the Norris.
It's not prime Karlsson anymore.
He won the Norris because he had 100 points on a bad San Jose Sharks team, which is gonna happen. It's the same reason why I don't want the Blackhawks to extend Ryan Donato. Somebody has to score, right? You know, like somebody has to get you're gonna score goals anyways. Like you're not gonna get shut out every game in the National Hockey League, right? You know, that is why playing almost the whole power play, you know, the whole season, right? Like that stuff happens. You know, what I think this tournament does for me is like, I think, you know, Team USA is probably, for me, the team that will look the most similar going into the Olympics next season.
They have more of an identity compared to these other teams. I think Lee said it on one of the live streams. It's like militant, like they run like the military over there. Just everything is in sync. If they play like a team, a lot of these guys have chemistry, coming together through the ranks at the development program. So it's like you could see that they're more in sync. The chemistry's there. I think it's a big part of why they really beat Canada Saturday, and hopefully will again tomorrow.
But my point is that like the U.S. doesn't have, maybe Chris Kreider is the closest example of something to this that you have. An aging veteran who probably shouldn't be on the team. Canada has Brad Marchand and Drew Doughty, who, I know Drew Doughty made a really nice pass to Connor McDavid on the opening goal, but he's looked a step behind a lot of these players. And he
got rocked by Brady Chuck in that Saturday game.
But
that
it just looks slow. He just looks slow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not the fact that he got hit. Everybody Connor McDavid got hit. Like it's not that. It's the fact that he just looks a step behind or even 2 steps behind some of these guys, right? Erik Karlsson, keep in mind, was one of the first players named to this event. Like he was among those group of players that Sweden was like, "Oh, you're coming." Like, what are you doing? Like it was like Brad Marchand. Like, are you telling me you couldn't have named any other better players on the team?
Well, I feel like a lot of those guys are naming not necessarily, not all of them like your best players necessarily. A lot of them are like, well, Erik Karlsson, like what he means to Swedish like hockey. I think that's probably why he's among those guys. That was
how many Stanley Cups does he have, Justin?
Whoa!
No, but he's got a bunch of Norris trophies. I don't know. Look at his numbers. Like I don't know. I'm not saying he should be there, but
Damn, you're going after this guy. But God forbid I say Sidney Crosby disappeared on Saturday night.
Because Sidney Crosby's a Mount Rushmore player of the sport.
I think Erik Karlsson is a Mount
Rushmore
for
Sweden.
No, he's not.
And definitely for
not.
Sweden.
For Sweden.
Mount Rushmore a top 4 defenseman of all time.
No, not all time, but
No,
for Sweden,
I don't
like
believe
top
that.
Swedish
But you could, I guarantee you could find a lot of people who believe it.
I think a Mount Rushmore of Swedish. You have Nick Lidstrom, you have Borje Salming, you have Victor. I'd take Victor Hedman's career over Erik Karlsson's any day of the week.
The Swedes love Erik Karlsson. That's their goat.
I don't think they love him after this weekend.
I don't know. I'm not in Sweden.
How
I'm not
about
polling people on the street in Stockholm, but
Sweden and Finland people? I don't know if they're watching this as
This
much
isn't
as
the 2016 World Cup of
Canada.
hockey. This isn't the 2016 World Cup. Like, this is 2025. Like, like you have to pick and choose your spots. Like, this is not a play. I'm just saying, like, Sweden really there were other guys too. William Nylander didn't really do anything this event.
Well, these players not showing up in the crucial moments. We've never seen that.
Yeah, but like, Jesper Bratt, I know he had the goal yesterday, but that's a guy who's like, supposed to be a really high-end point producer. Probably was almost Sweden's version of Mikko Rantanen a little bit. That's like, maybe he was a Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier merchant. I don't really think that about him, but like this guy was supposed to be a bit more effective than he was.
he did score against USA last night, and I guess the game meant nothing. But I don't know.
Was he the guy who did the "Are you not irritating, Sully"?
Yes.
That's Bedard Sully, man. Copyright infringement over here.
That shit got me so pissed off when he did that. I was very angry on the live stream. I don't know. I thought Kempe scored against Canada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like
Kempe's one of their best players. Like Kempe is a dog.
Yeah, he is. But I guess maybe it was just the whole team underperforming. But it's just like you can't lose that game to Finland. Like they should not have lost that. And so I just like I don't think Sweden really has any positives coming away from this tournament, to be honest with you. Just because you lost the game that you had to win and that you should have won. And you didn't. And so I think that's kind of on all your top dogs. So if we're like going around and like talking about underwhelming performers and this and that, I think Sweden top to bottom is you can point your finger at.
Yeah, I would say the one guy on that team who I feel like was one of the few guys who consistently did perform and like wasn't underwhelming at all, I think was probably their best player, Lucas Raymond. Like he was so good for them, definitely one of their X factors. I was really impressed with him. I'm a big fan of his game. I'm watching a lot of those Red Wings games, with Patty Kane. I'm always paying attention to Lucas Raymond. He's fun to watch. Yeah,
I just think if you bring Erik Karlsson to the Olympics next year as anything but a 7th or 8th defenseman, you have no desire of winning.
Unserious? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna be there though, just because he's Erik Karlsson. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you're unserious about winning.
Yeah, fair enough.
Same thing for I think Brad Marchand has really showed that if Hockey Canada puts him on the roster for the Olympics next year, it's way more about politics than we think. Same thing with
PR
the goaltending.
merchant.
If they go to the same 3 goalies, imagine if the 3 goalies for Canada next
There's
year.
no way. There's no chance.
You're seriously? I don't think it's a non-zero chance. It's Hockey Canada.
Don
Sweeney's hold my beer.
Yeah.
Whoa, wait.
Maybe.
Who's the GM of the Boston Bruins?
Don Sweeney.
Who's the GM of Team Canada?
Don Sweeney.
Who decided that Charlie McAvoy isn't playing on Thursday?
Ooh.
Oh, I see what you're putting out there. If he's doing that, then that's un-American, man. He should be playing if he can.
I think Charlie McAvoy might have decided he's not playing on Thursday.
I think he had a serious issue. I just wanted to do that.
I will say this. I will say here's another thing I'm going to put out there though. When Lee starts dishing Brad Marchand, that doesn't tend to go well. And this game's being played at TD Garden.
That's true. What have I done?
If Brad
I will say, cooks us. That's on me. I'm taking it solely. Canada doesn't win.
I do worry about that for some reason. I don't know. He's the type of guy who just randomly show up in a game like this. I'm sure
I'm not worried about Brad Marchand. He's an Instagram Reels merchant for Team Canada.
I'm not worried about him either. This isn't 2016, guys.
Yeah.
This isn't 2016.
No.
Jonathan Toews isn't coming out of the woodworks being like, hey, guys, I'd like my return from retirement to be the final of the Four Nations face-off.
Bring him in!
I'll say this. You brought up Jonathan Toews. Everybody always loves to glaze Sidney Crosby all the time in 2010 for his golden goal. It's deservedly so. But Jonathan Toews was always the best scorer for Canada in those tournaments. 2010, 2014, you look at the production. It was Jonathan Toews who was the guy who was producing. I'm just going to put that out there. Yeah. But he doesn't get those props. And NHL posted something like a quarter century team for each nation, and Jonathan Toews wasn't on either of Canada's. And then Stamkos over him. It's maybe you look at NHL, fine, but international play, Toews, what's the better player? What are we talking about here? Stamkos wasn't even on some of those teams.
Yeah, and Thornton was on the second team too. It's Toews was better for his country, and Toews won more cups than both of those guys. You won more cups.
Yeah, they always show up in those moments. Yeah. The disrespect. I mean, Kaner obviously was on the U.S. one, which I think Keith was on the Canadian one. To be fair, but the lack of Jonathan Toews was absurd to me. Just this recency bias of him, this Jonathan Toews erasure. It's dry. It's sad to see. I don't know.
The comeback's coming. Just wait.
Yeah, no, that's the land of sky stuff. That's just a bunch of. I'd love to see it, but I'm not placing any bets on it. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. wins on Thursday, and then you start hearing Canadian fans talking about Jonathan Toews somehow, and they're like, "Man, if only we had."
I don't think you're going to hear that from anybody.
I'm just watching. It's going to be the Undertaker. He's just going to appear and. Oh, that'd be funny.
I'm taking the crown for the best shit stir and on hockey.
Let's send Patrick Kane over there while we're at it.
Oh gosh, ain't 2016, guys. That's gonna be my saying for the week here.
Ain't 2016.
It ain't 2016 no more. All right.
Sorry.
He's just sitting at home watching the games of his dog. Yeah, that's what he's doing.
Yeah. Let's see. So I thought going into this break, I said it, especially when it related to the Hawks, but it really could have been applied to any other NHL team, that I thought there was going, like I said, when we wrapped up the live stream, it was against the Blues. We were all together. And we did the post-game show. I said I'd be really surprised if this Hawks team looks the same on their first game on Saturday as they do in their last game against the St. Louis Blues. And here we are, about a week and a half since then, and
they're looking the same.
Not only have the
Blackhawks, I thought for sure we'd see a Donato trade or something. Yeah. Especially after that 4-point game in Eyewitness, his value would never be high. I thought that was the time to do it, but I guess so. This will become close to the trade deadline, probably.
Justin, I love you, brother. If you cut me off one more time, I'm going to come through the screen.
My bad. I'm coming that cut off Lee, so today I guess I'm cutting off Tassos.
Yeah. I'm coming through the screen, though, if you do it one more time.
You're doing what through the screen?
Hey, yo.
Okay. All right. Anyways. No, I just, not only did I think it was going to apply to the Hawks, I thought it would be the other NHL teams too. I thought there would be other moves being made. I thought we'd get something here. And the only thing we got, there was a trade that happened during the show. Grigory Denisenko from the Vegas Golden Knights to the Nashville Predators for future considerations.
That's a blockbuster right there.
Nashville
Future
to the
considerations gets
playoffs?
around.
Nashville to the playoffs.
When did we lose future considerations? We got him a few months ago. I guess he's gone. That sucks. Sad to see him go.
Yeah. No, I don't know what the lack of movement is about. I don't know why.
I think they might just all be on vacation, like genuinely.
Either that or they're all at the Four Nations face-off.
Yeah.
I think the Hawks players are in Cancun
Are
right
they
now.
sitting in different suites? Are they not conversing? You know?
Yeah, they might just be focused on what's going on there, a little bit.
What are they, fans though?
I don't think the players that are not at this tournament give a shit about this. I don't know. I don't think they've been watching. Maybe they have. I don't know.
No, we're talking management.
Yeah,
though.
we're doing.
Oh,
we're
yeah,
doing
right,
GM
right.
talk.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I'm not very solid today. My bad. I'm slow. This is a slow day for me.
Yeah. I thought we'd see a lot more movement. And I don't know. Like for a while, it seemed like, everybody's waiting for Elias Pettersson or JT Miller to get moved. And then, it was the shock of the world where Mikko Rantanen gets traded and then Miller gets traded a week later, right? And, still we've got nothing. And it's not like I don't know that there are any other blockbusters on the horizon. I haven't looked at a lot of trade boards lately, but I don't really know who's like at the top or I guess somebody that carries like the biggest star power out of any of those players on a trade board right now. But I just thought like some teams would be looking to get some guys, even a Donato, right? Like bring him in now so that way when practice
assimilate
start,
him. Yeah.
When practices start today, tomorrow, you have a little bit of
A
runway
bunch
before.
of no, for sure. You're not just throwing him in a game for the first time. You got plenty of time to, get assimilated with the team. Yeah.
And even if you're Davidson, right? Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna play Donato on Saturday and Sunday, back to back Saturday, Sunday. Like maybe he gets hurt. Maybe he,
Oh, woof.
like what are you doing? Like move him. Somebody move somebody.
They might be looking to re-sign him.
Stop.
Dude.
Stop.
Why?
You're on that train?
You're right.
Yeah.
Let's bring back everybody from this year's team.
No, stop. Donato is one of you cannot. No, don't do that. Donato's actually been good this year.
Yeah, you're right. He's a premier player in the NHL.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you sign him for 3.2 for a couple years, it's worth it. That's more worth than a late third, early fourth rounder. That's what I'm saying.
What about a second or even a late first?
Oh, well, yeah. Then yes, you have. Then I'd be delusional to say no. Resign Donato. Yes, if you can get a second for him, yeah.
I think a second's very realistic. Honestly, I think that's very doable. His production, the way I think he deserves higher than Taylor Hall's return. Yeah,
I do too.
I think you're right, but I don't know. I just don't know what the market's like.
But you have to then create a market.
I'm with you. I would love
something.
I would love for there to be a free agent frenzy and for there to be a million moves like right after the conclusion of this tournament.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, how has there not been anything for the past 2 weeks?
I think the explanation has to be is that they're like actually going on vacation.
They're joining the players
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Davidson's there and in Cancun with the team. Yeah,
Since there's literally been nothing, it literally has to be just that they're enjoying their time right now and they're not doing business. Because there's no way they were talking as much as they were before this, and then just nothing's happened.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
I got nothing to add.
No, it's just surprising to me. I thought, I thought we'd be able to have a larger discussion.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
I think we assumed we'd have some Hawks news to talk about during this Four Nations break, and we've had absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It's just been a Four Nations show, which fair enough. The way this tournament's gone, I think it's been a nice bit of therapy to get away from the Hawks team for a little while. But this weekend, they will reappear.
All we have is Ethan Del Mastro called back up.
Which we knew that was
practice.
coming. We knew that he was just being sent down for the break. So, but yeah, Ethan Del Mastro back. Yep, that's your Hawks news for the day.
I don't know how you don't see, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe KD is like seeing what's out there and putting out some feelers for Donato and Connor Murphy's name has been out there a little bit too, and some of these other bottom.
I think
six
Craig
veterans.
Smith should be totally like the guy that you're trying to get rid of, like undoubtedly, because that's
Maroon
just like
too.
That's just like a
Yeah,
roster
Maroon.
spot. Yeah, him too.
Yeah.
It's just like those
Yeah.
guys are roster spots.
One of those.
Their
Both of
contracts
them,
are
if you can.
nothing. Like,
Yeah, those are plug-in additions.
Yeah.
Like, what are they? Yeah, no.
well,
for sure.
also the difference between Donato and those guys is like there's no debate as to whether we should be bringing them back next year or not. Like,
Oh yeah, no.
you can make an argument for wanting Ryan Donato on this roster
Yes,
next year.
there's no arguments for Smith and Maroon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope there's something down the road, but I don't know. I do genuinely feel like the only explanation can be just that they're like just enjoying themselves and not making calls, not doing business.
To be honest with
Yeah,
you, though,
Davidson's in hibernation. Yeah,
they
he's
don't
with
do
the Bears
that.
over
Like
there.
GMs of NHL teams, like
You don't think?
No, not in the middle of a hockey season.
But then what's the explanation for this?
Like Vancouver, big news of the day. Whoa, Drew O'Connor locked up to a 2-year deal.
Give him the cup. I've seen enough. Sorry,
Yeah.
Calgary.
There goes the tattoo.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So clearly, like somebody, like people are working. Like it's not like, it's not like Kyle Davidson is not like on a beach somewhere in the Bahamas.
He might be.
Oh no, man!
I
seems the type of
really
guy
don't
would
think
be.
so.
I know,
If
I
so,
know, I
then
know.
he should be fired. Honestly,
I know.
I'm sure he at least has a phone on him. It's always open. I'm sure. Yeah.
he should have been at every single Rockford Ice Hogs games that was being played. Like he should have been on the phone every single day. Like,
Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah, no, I think he should be, but no. I'm sure there's some GMs in the league who've been enjoying themselves. Yeah.
The only reason why I say it is just because I don't understand why there's been nothing. Like I don't. It's easier for me to just say that they're just like enjoying the games or like taking a mental vacation than it is to like come up with.
They maybe took a day off, at home, but I'm not saying they didn't pick up and like go to Europe, dude.
Yeah, no, I know. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
It's not far away too. Like these moves normally happen like weeks before the trade deadline these days, and it's March 7th. So I mean, you gotta think when they do come back here this weekend, like there's gonna be a flurry of activity pretty soon. You would think. Although a lot of the big moves have already happened though, so we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I would like to see some movement in the NHL. Who knows? Maybe everybody's just kind of taking a little bit of time away. Maybe like I don't know how many NHL general managers are involved in the Four Nations face-off. You have Bill Guerin.
Everybody's scouting the games, surely.
You have Guerin, Sweeney, Doug Armstrong, St. Louis is a part of Team Canada. Kyle Dubas is a part of Team Canada. I don't know who else is a part of the USA staff besides Billy Guerin. But that's at least 5 or 6, let's say, NHL GMs. Then you're not able to really make moves with those teams, right? I think a lot of teams are looking at, or a lot of people are looking at, I think the St. Louis Blues are a team to watch as potential sellers, or like a team that may look to move off some of their pieces, right? Braden Shen's been out there. We've talked about that a little bit. So yeah, maybe Doug Armstrong is just not picking up the phone. You know what I mean? Maybe he's just not picking up the phone this week. Maybe
And so
Kyle
if there's
Dubas
like a
isn't
few
picking up the
guys
phone
that
this week.
aren't, then maybe that kind of has a ripple effect through all the other guys. It's like, oh, we only have 70% of the GMs available right now. So it's
Don't they all have like a massive group chat too? Like I'm sure they're always in constant communication, so they know like what the the market's like.
You think they send memes to each other?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure they send. I'm sure my posts are in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Boosting the trade values every time Jones and Donato do something.
Yeah, I don't know. But I stand on the fact that like I think if you want to build off of the way these owners and these teams and these GMs can build off of the success of this tournament is through free agency. Make your fan bases excited, and the way you do that is you bring in new players and gear up for this postseason that's coming.
You keep saying free agency. You mean trade deadline, right? Trades. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You guys want to play a game?
Sure.
Ooh, more games. Here we go.
No, this is a quick one. Guess the prices.
Oh boy, for the championship game.
Yep.
Like the minimum.
I want the lowest
1,000.
price to get into the game and the highest price to get into the game.
Lowest.
Hold on.
Whoa, don't show me, bro.
Hold on.
You're holding your phone at me.
Hold on, Justin. I want exact numbers. Closest to each wins. So
right,
let's do lowest first.
Okay, I'm not gonna say that's too easy. I gotta go. I'm gonna say it's somewhere above 1,000. I'm gonna say 1,250.
1,250. The lowest price. Lee, what do you got?
Is that too high? Shit,
I mean, I'm just gonna go.
Fuck.
I'm gonna go like $100. If I was smart, I'd go $100 under him and just cook them.
I think I'm thinking of
no, but
lower bowl. Fuck yeah.
No, I'm gonna go like 350.
No, the lowest price for a ticket right now to get in, according to actually an unnamed ticketing source, because no free ads, $852.
Damn.
I was close. I think wait. You said how much?
Lee said 350, so you win, Justin.
I said 1250. That's pretty close, actually. Are we?
Yeah.
Damn, I did not think it was going to be
4,
that
5.
high.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Boom! I was onto something. I knew it.
Okay. That is the
yes.
lowest price to
If
get
I was
in.
really sweating there, I would have said $1,100, but I wanted to give you a try. I thought you were way off.
Oh yeah, I make excuses.
All right.
All
You
right,
guessed
I wanna see
$500 above the price. Let's
All right, you
simmer down.
guessed like 500 below it.
Yeah, well, fuck you.
The
Closer.
highest price. I want to get an accurate picture here.
I don't even have a number in mind.
Whew.
That's hard. That's what she said.
Sorry, I just want to see what the highest price to get in is. I saw something online that is quite more than what I'm seeing here. Great podcasting. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I will put up my guess while you find
what
that.
is put your guesses up. What's the highest price to get in?
Jesus, this is gonna look terrible out. I'll say $4,999. Still, just under 5,000.
Fuck. Well, are you going to be looking for the number you saw online? If you saw some outrageous,
How do we know how
number online-
accurate this is? What are the?
I'll say 3,900.
The highest price I am seeing. So the highest price I saw on Instagram was $10,000.
What the? No way. No way.
The highest price I am seeing on this app right here is $6,935.
Oh, cut. You like that?
I don't know. I can't find the $10,000 ticket.
That's craziness. I mean, that's awesome.
$7,000 is the highest price. Well, I don't know how awesome it is because currently there are a lot of tickets available for tomorrow's game or for Thursday's game. So
I think those things are going to drop a little bit. Should we wait right before the game and go, Tassos?
Yeah, dude, that always works out super
Dude, let's
well
just
for
walk
us.
to the stadium.
Yeah, we'll get there by Thursday, maybe. No.
Yeah, I got a head start on you guys there, but I don't think I have the facilities for that.
All right. What else do we have, fellas?
Let's see here. Well, I mean, like we've said, there's not really anything happening NHL news, so it's all just Four Nations stuff, and I think we've kind of covered a lot of it, unless we have more to say about Four Nations. Do we want to save our predictions and stuff, for the U.S. Canada game for tomorrow's show, or
Lee
will
will
do that now?
So Lee is not on tomorrow's show.
Oh, so I'll just do it now then. Yeah.
Yeah, we could do it now, or we could do it before the game. You know what I mean? Like you and I could do it tomorrow. Justin and Lee could do his.
Yeah, and then
before
we'll do the
game starts
pregame.
on the stream.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Just so we'll get more into that game tomorrow.
Yeah, I want more news. I want like everything to play out. Like, what's the deal with Quinn Hughes? Is Jake Sanderson going to
Hopefully get
stub
an
his
answer by
toe?
tomorrow.
Is Austin Matthews going to have his upper body soreness massaged out?
Man up.
What's going to kind of happen? What are these teams going to be looking like? So yeah, I wouldn't love to do my prediction right now and then have.
Yeah, we
crazy
still gotta wait
things
a little
happen.
bit. Yeah, need to have the whole roster finalized.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Unless you guys want to take 20 minutes here, break down Drew O'Connor's 2-year contract extension.
Yeah, so I think it's a good move. I think depth is going to be an issue for them once they have no any sort of offensive talent and no stars. So
once Quinn Hughes demands a trade after this season.
yeah, jeez, Canucks.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that. Yeah.
I think the Canucks are the biggest loser. I know we talked about how Sweden had a bad tournament. I think the Vancouver Canucks might be the biggest loser of this tournament.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
No, the way they'd be the biggest loser of this tournament is if Quinn Hughes is allowed to play on Thursday and then gets injured. Oh, Vancouver.
Dude, what could you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
It's like, oh, they rushed him back. Oh.
All right. We'll wrap it there. Okay. Remember, podcast again tomorrow. Just me and Justin. I got to do some work today and come up with some fun stuff for us. But I will, and maybe I'll bring on a guest or 2 or 3. No, probably not 3 guests.
Tim
probably
Tebow.
No, I can
Never on a podcast.
Never on a podcast, unless he wants to sit in your chair and say. And Raven just has his mic muted the whole time, so it's just for the look as opposed to.
Is Tim Tebow one of the guests?
No, Tim Tebow will not be one of the guests. If I get a guess.
Dang.
I do have somebody from NHL Network Radio that did want to come on the show, so maybe I will try and get him on. But that's it from us. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your siblings, tell anybody in your life that you want or need. I don't know. Just tell people to subscribe to the show. Like, for God's sake.
Spread the word.
I don't know how
Little
else to say
tradition.
it. Tell people
Manifest destiny.
to subscribe to the show. Like, we need subscribers. You are our subscribers. What are we supposed to do? Like,
keep putting out the content.
Invest in the stock. Invest.
We've mentioned it multiple times, but yes, we are live streaming the final of the Four Nations. We are going to be live on Thursday here in studio. It's going to be fucking insane. Sorry for swearing, but I don't know how to articulate myself without using the F word. Thursday's going to be insane. Come join the stream. It's going to be a lot of fun. I don't care if you're a Canadian fan, a USA fan, anything in between. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
What's a kilometer? America, baby.
All right. Subscribe. Please follow us on Instagram and leave a 5-star rating and review. Podcast tomorrow. We'll be back. See everybody then.